First Lady, know the girls. You've been on our show many times. By the way, fellas, did I tell you I'm on WSB Radio? 710 myself and but you've been on the show several times. You brought something they called you a racist, right? I know you. Many of these men have never met you. Answer that question. You know.
Well, I remember being on, I think it was Yung Joc show one morning after the election bill came out, and I did a 30-minute segment with him and a few other folks, and I took every single question they threw at me about the elections bill. And the last question I got, they asked me, they said, you know, Governor, to be quite honest with you, there's a lot of our listeners, especially female listeners, that think you don't like black women. And I just kind of laughed at that, and I said, well, you know, I have a record to prove that that's not the case. And I kind of went through the historic minority appointments I've made of, you know, appointing a black female to the Court of Appeals and promoting her to the Georgia Supreme Court, appointing the first black female and first African American Superior Court judge in Gwinnett County, our Revenue Commissioner, our Georgia Technology Authority Commissioner or Director, our State Accountant. They all happen to be historic appointments that I made of African Americans that are now serving in that role in state government. So truly, if you look at our team, this is as diverse as our state is, and these are great leaders that are deserving to be in those prominent places, and they're leading one of the most efficient state governments in the country right now that's been innovating and using technology. And a lot of those people were with me, or have been for the last 10 years, as we revamped systems in the Secretary of State's office, use technology and innovation, not only to do a new voter registration system, but also a new corporate filing system and a lot of other things that are still serving our state very well. You know, I can't remember how many African American judicial appointments I've made. I appointed the first Asian to the Georgia Supreme Court. I appointed our first ever constitutional officer that happens to be Hispanic or Latino, and John King, our insurance commissioner. I just appointed not too long ago Fitz Johnson's an African American business guy to the Public Service Commission, so he's serving our statewide right now. Fitz is a great guy, great part of our business environment. I appointed the first Indian American district attorney in our state. So I've got a great track record of making sure, you know, that the people serving you in state government look like our state. But they also believe in the way that I want to run state government. You know, we've done this with our boards and commissions as well, helping diversify. Many of our boards that, quite honestly, when I got in office, was just a bunch of white men on there. And we've tried to make those boards look more like us. So we're bringing every perspective with the advisory boards and other decision makers that we have in state governments. And look, that's not just low-level boards. We're talking about Ports Authority, Board of Regents, World Congress Center Authority, you know, Savannah Convention Center Authority. I mean, some of the most important pieces of boards and commissions in state government. And so, you know, Shelley, there's a lot of people that run around and say this, do that, you know, in an election year, but I've tried to take the tack of being more of a workhorse and a show horse, because I believe that Georgians are smart and voters are smart. They can see what your record is. If they take the time that they can find out exactly what I've done and why I've done it. And, you know, I'm proud of that record, and I would urge people that are unsure about that to go look at that record. But the last thing I said on that radio show when I got that question, especially when we were talking about the voting bill, I said, look, there's a lot of people that are lying to you. And I said, I'm not one of them. I said, you know, you may not agree with everything I'm saying, but I asked those hosts, I said, anybody else come on your show for 30 minutes and ask every single question you had for them? And they laughed and said, no, they have not, Governor. And so that's what I'm going to continue to do if I'm honored to continue to serve.
I have one question, and then we're going to go to questions questions from the audience. A poll was recently released. The reason why we're doing this event, my brothers, is because a poll was recently released that your opponent, Ms. Abrams, is struggling with black voters as a whole, but also struggling with black men. And so I said, well, I'm going to bring my friend in front of a bunch of men, business owners, nonprofit owners, all kinds of folks, schools, principals, builders of schools. And so that's why we're doing this event.